through my work with helping women in Accra in coding, I noticed that when we collected data, the commuting distance to closest co-working spaces were like, it was incredible, from 1.5 hours to 2.5 hours, and that just defeats like the purpose. Tell me about that. How have you worked around that situation?
So it's interesting that you mentioned co-working spaces, and I think now it's become an engaging discussion. So there are currently like 30 co-working spaces across, so more have come on since you were last in Ghana. The government is also looking at setting up all these incubators. So they have a space called the Accra Digital Center, but it's still sort of centralized around certain areas because those are the busy areas where they are setting activities. So office space is a challenge, right? Finding space to work is a big challenge. You want the opportunity to be in the capital because you want to be where everybody is. So if you schedule meetings, it's just quick in and out. You don't want to have your office very far and have the problem that you described. But the cost is very high, like renting space and all of that. So there is a growing demand for more co-working space. But what is interesting is there were two. So I started off first in my parents' house, and then I went to a co-working space. And there's also what was happening then was that people weren't used to paying for a space and just sitting there by themselves. So then they would rather just stay home because of also the travel. So I think there's still the need for more co-working spaces, but placed in different strategic locations. Because I think the two biggest ones are really sort of close to each other. If you look,
I think
Impact Hub and iSpace, they are not so far from each other.
Those guys were phenomenal, particularly Impact Hub will sponsor like a whole year of the initiative. Yeah. I just wanted to give a shout out to them.
So I think we need more that are more strategically placed as opposed to having them all like in the same area.